Lily, the gray is inevitable. It'll happen.
All right. Let me just look at you. It opens the heart, brings tears to the eyes. To see the familiar faces of friends and the new faces, and from all the different places from which you come to gather here, and you too online, I see you. And we all come together to build and to grow something greater than any of us by ourselves can be. And you are doing that work. Last time I was here was 2017. No hallway of classrooms that way. No big kitchen, But it's sort of like my cucumber plant. I left this little thing that was starting. It was showing growth potential. And then I came back 4 years later, and it's all over the place. And where it can, it holds itself up. I don't know if you've ever, how many of us have ever had a cucumber vine? Yeah. They have these little tendrils that reach out and grab onto anything they can to hang on so they can bear the weight of the fruit. And that's what we go through life doing. We reach out, we try to hang on to anything we can so we can bear the fruit of life that's coming at us. And every one of us has the ability to do that. Because within us, if you ever wonder where it is, it's within us is the tree of life. Every symbol, every outer tree that represents the tree of life, and they had a wonderful one where Larry and I lived in Bahrain. I think I've even shown it here. 400 years old, grows in the middle of a barren desert where nothing else grows. And they call it the tree of life because it reaches its roots so deeply into the fresh water system that's below the island. And so it's able to live and thrive. And whatever outer tree there is that we call the tree of life, it is a representation of that which is in us, the divine life, not just within us, but that we are. That reaches its roots into the earth, that sends its branches out through every part of our body and being to energize and bless not just us, but those around us. It was implied in Genesis that this tree of life gave life eternal. Genesis isn't the only creation myth with that plant of eternal life. Several have them. And it is implied in Revelation that this tree of life bore 12 kinds of fruit. Get that. If you ever wonder where Charles Fillmore got his 12 powers and his 12 power centers. The tree of life with its 12 kinds of fruit. And this is my favorite statement describing the tree of life. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. So your tree of life, the tree of life that you are, is for the healing of the nations within you, the nations of thoughts and feelings and memories and opinions and attitudes, and the nations of your family, the nations of your community, the nations of this world and beyond. It also says in Genesis that we were cut off from the tree of life. I think it's just because we can't find it when we're taking ourselves too seriously. You know, I mean, when you think about it, my friend Michael Madej, my dear minister friend who passed away this past year, used to say that the reason Adam and Eve were kicked out of paradise was because they saw each other naked and they didn't laugh. They took themselves too seriously. And they were cut off from that flow, from that divine flow. And also because they did something else. They ate the forbidden fruit. Off.
I couldn't resist, Lois.
They ate the forbidden fruit off of that other tree, the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. The fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, there is a lot in this world that we see. Some of it we see builds the harmony and the unity of humankind, and some of it tears humankind apart in anger and hatred and even violence. But when we take it in, when we let it influence us, when we let it move the brain patterns in us, that tree of life starts to grow into the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that this is good, this is bad. You're less than me or I'm less than you. I feel separate. I feel afraid of you. I feel afraid of me being too great because I don't deserve greatness. We get into these thought patterns based on the appearances. That's what it is to eat of the knowledge of good and evil. Our existence is about being able to see and be with all of it from the place of love. So we have a forbidden fruit up here. It's so awful, I couldn't even show it to you. I had to cover it up. It's like Medusa. If you looked at it, it might just horrify you into stone. So what is the healing of this way of being? Of this way when we hate ourselves and hate life and hate others. And there's so much of that we see in the world today. What is the healing? Well, we go to Dr. Proverbs. Who says, have an apple a day. He said, it says in Proverbs that a fitly spoken word is like a golden apple in a setting of silver. You were talking about affirmative prayer. A fitly spoken word is like a golden apple in a setting of silver. A fitly spoken word is a word of truth. And words do not start when they come out of your mouth. Words start in your consciousness, in your heart, in your soul. You speak, I don't know about you, but I speak to myself all the time. Anybody who remembers working with me remembers I was walking around, okay, now we need to do this, and I'm going to go, and then I'm going to go do this. Well, I would talk to myself, but when I'm not doing it out here, I'm doing it in here. How many of us talk to ourselves? In or out? Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. What are you saying when you talk to yourself, when nobody else is listening? A fitly spoken word is like a golden apple. And where do these apples go? What is the good that they do? And this is where I'm going to call on Myrtle. Myrtle Fillmore. What is now known as Myrtle Fillmore's Healing Letters was originally called Letters of Myrtle Fillmore. This is a 1948 copy. And it's the second edition after the original 1936 copy. And this gives you a sense of that eternal truth that we have. She says things like no incurable disease. Prayer is the greatest power. And she says that we heal at 3 levels of being. We heal at 3 levels of being. She says the law of health is threefold. Spiritual, keeping a person assured of the God-given freedom from all anxiety and worry and fear and lack. Mental, giving one the intelligence that enables that one always to do that which promotes health and success. And by the way, I'm neutralizing the patriarchal language here. Okay? And physical, forming those habits which keep us making the right use of all our faculties and powers and the life energy and substance. Myrtle's teachings were eminently practical. She said you start in spirit, then you go to work with the mind. And what we have learned over time is that when an early metaphysician referred to the mind, they were referring to the heart mind, the soul, not just this. They were referring to the mind that is seated in the heart. Because even in ancient Hebrew, heart and mind are one word. One word. Leba. Like a heartbeat. Leba, leba, leba. And so, we look first to the spirit, then to the mind, then to the body. We don't leave it unmanifested. We bring it into the physical reality of our physicality and that which is around us. So, the forbidden fruit of spirit is what we in Unity used to call metaphysical malpractice. Anybody ever heard that? Well, what's in your consciousness, you know? Yeah, they say, what's in your wallet? Well, what's in your consciousness? Also, it is that spiritual bypassing that we do when we are too afraid, and it's okay to be there. That's an initial stage, but we have to get past it. When we're too afraid to look at the physicality of a situation or the reality of an emotional interchange or the way we exchange with people. we spiritually bypass it, everything is fine. And it's okay not to be okay. We've learned that, haven't we? We've matured, we've grown, because everything is always okay, so therefore it's okay not to be okay. So, the forbidden fruit, which has us forbidding ourselves to see what is so, is healed with the apple of truth, the truth of our being. Now, in Unity and New Thought and other paths, we have said, what? I am a spiritual being having a human experience. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is acknowledging. That is a place to begin acknowledging what we truly are. Well, I have one for us today. You aren't only a spiritual being, some entity different from everything else, although I do viva la difference in all that we are. You are spirit itself having a human experience. You are all that spirit is having a human experience. There's a Sufi teaching that says, you're not just a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. I am spirit having a human experience. Let's say that together. I am spirit having a human experience. Okay, put a little more spirit in that. All right, and you too online, remember. Okay, together. I am spirit having a human experience. Amen. Mental. So what's the forbidden fruit of mental? It's a word with mental in it, and it begins with judge. Being judgmental, not judgment. Judgment is a power of spiritual discernment that we now call wisdom. But when we let our judgments be guided by the material input that only the mental processes, that's when we say, that person needs to go. This thing needs to stay. This is right. This is wrong. This is good. This is bad. Because I've had this experience, I am staying away from that. Because I have failed, I'm never going to succeed. It only makes sense. Judgmental. Forbidden fruit. Forbidding us to see the truth in ourselves and each other. So the healing of being judgmental now is spiritual discernment, but it's spiritual discernment that comes out of being willing to let go of the judgments. Let go of the judgments. Now, that sounds, oh, sure, I could do that. And then on your way home, you'll start talking about this or that or the other thing. Judgment, 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 judgment. Judgmentalness. Judgmentalness. Not the discerning of choosing how to think or how to be. But the automatic throwing into, what do you call it, Larry? Are we going to go down that hole again? Of opinions? and concepts born of feelings of hurt and dissatisfaction from when we were disappointed because something somewhere along the way didn't meet the way we thought it should be. Wow. We can release that and let it go. Because when we don't, our body holds on to it. But we'll get to the body in a minute. So let us hold others upon whom we have had judgmentalness, situations, people. Let's bring them to mind. And let us affirm, I love you. Together, I love you. I release you to your highest good. I am free and whole. Now, when you get home, you can go to a mirror, or those of you who are already at home, stay where you are right now, but then go to the mirror later. And you can say that to yourself, I love you. I release you to your highest good. And when we release ourselves to our highest good, we are freeing ourselves up from all of the self-doubts that have had us separated from our own dreams, from our own good. I release you to your highest good. I see you in the mirror, free and whole. And when we hold on to these things, the body takes on the forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit of the body is our attitudes of disdain for something about our physicality. Okay, I was putting this dress on this morning. I hadn't worn it in a while. Not since before COVID. It was a little harder to zip it up. And immediately, where did my natural humanity go? Pulling out those judgmentals. And then stand with a deep breath. And it fits just right. And it is what it needs to be. We can be judgmental against disease. We can disdain our bodies for having disease, what we call disease. When we have disease, it is a call for healing. It's our body saying, heal, heal. And our diseases, some of our dearest friends which have been terminal, or family members, our diseases actually give us the opportunity to have the healing process of the soul that is called reconnecting with others, learning to live in the moment, taking each moment of life as precious. Would that we could all do that every day. Have that apple a day. I'm contemplating whether or not to share this with you. A few days ago, my sister told me she has stage 4 ovarian cancer. And the first thing, like an automatic from spirit, like just spirit popping out, I said, Harriet, there's one thing for you to remember. You are whole and complete right now. You are already whole, and everything you do for your body from this point forward comes from that wholeness. Since then, I think we've had more phone calls than we've had in the past 10 years. And we're exploring healing together. So, the golden apple for the body is love. Love your body. And I'm going to go over for the affirmations I wrote for this one. To love your body enough to know the sacred living thing that it is, and that it really is part of your expression. I do love the philosophy, and I've taught it, and I've even said it probably from this platform. Every body is beautiful. And so let us say together, I am the temple of the living God, together.
I am the temple of the living God.
The divine expresses in, through, and as me.
The divine expresses in, through, and as me.
And I am healed.
And I am healed.
Now, why do we need healing? You know, some of my teachers in their evolutionary thought, my colleagues and teachers and friends at Unity would say, oh, we don't really need to heal because we're already whole. And then I heard Deepak Chopra's definition of healing. That's what healing is. It's remembering your wholeness. Remembering your wholeness. Love your body. Love your mind and heart. Love spirit and that spirit in others. And the forbidden fruit of fear and judgmentalness and disdain will be transformed. Those old pathways that told you it was one way, you will now learn and grow from even those. You are the tree of life. And that tree, that is you, is for the healing of the nations. God bless you. The song I grew up with, I behold the Christ in you, first in its old 4-part hymn form, and then in the beautiful melody that Bill Provost wrote. And it just stays in my heart, and you know, I know that song very well, I behold the Christ in you. And we say it now, as I see the divine in you, I see you, and we say it as that beautiful ancient word, namaste. And so I contemplated, how do those two come together? Because they are the same. And so here's the song that came.
I behold the Christ in you, here the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. Namaste, namaste, namaste.
divine in me bows to and honors the divine in you. And in this moment of quiet, meditative thought and silence, let us think on the relationships in our lives that call for the remembrance of wholeness. Personal relationships, work relationships, our relationship with our own body. And let us behold in each relationship, in each one, in each thing that is part of that relationship, the divine, expressing in and through and as that. And then let us take that to heart and know that we are that. You are that. I am that divine. And let us say in blessed remembrance to ourselves, Namaste, and dwell in the light of that divinity, in the silence. Namaste. And once again, take a deep breath. And as Richard has said, as he said in our opening circle, let us affirm that it is so by saying, and so it is, together, and so it is. Amen. Namaste.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding